Hello, everyone, and welcome to 30 Minutes to Flying Pigeon Pose. Flying Pigeon is one of my favorite poses. It's a ton of fun once you're able to get it, and it's also a very challenging pose. We need a lot of things in order to get to Flying Pigeon. We definitely need a lot of upper body strength, particularly arm strength, because it is an arm balance. We also need some deep hip flexibility. We really need that external rotation of the hip in order to get our leg in the right position. And some quad strength will also help us in the balance that we need just to get to the before pose of Flying Pigeon. So let's start on our backs. And once you find yourself on your back, bend your legs and plant your feet. And plant your hands on the ground. And just ground yourself with a few deep breaths. I find anytime we do any kind of balance pose, it can really help to just begin by connecting to the earth. And let's begin to warm up and wake up our hips. Take your feet just a little bit wider than your hips. And then start by rocking the knees to the left and to the right. And notice any restriction in your body. Notice if one hip is tighter or looser than the other one. And then let's see where our hip flexibility is at right now by coming into a figure 4. So bring your knees back over your feet, and let's take our left ankle on our right thigh. Draw the left knee away from you, and then hug the right knee into your chest. Okay, so this is the external rotation of the hip that we're looking for. It's the same sort of movement we need for lotus pose, for pigeon pose, for cross-legged position. And it's a very common stretch that you'll find in yoga, because once you're able to find that rotation of the leg, it opens up a lot of other poses. So just see where your body is at right now. Like, where is your hip flexibility at today? And then let's combine the hamstring stretch for this pose. So extend the right leg towards the sky and interlace your fingers behind your knee. And you could stay there, or you might walk your hands further down the leg. We'll have both feet flexed, so really keep the left foot flexed to protect the left knee. I'm going to keep the right foot flexed also, which really helps with the leg staying straight. And hug right knee in one more time, and switch. Right ankle on your left thigh, right knee draws away. Hug your left knee into your chest. And again, notice if one hip is tighter or looser than the other one. We are organic processes, so we're not made by machines. So often we're not perfectly symmetrical. And often a muscle will be tighter on one side than the other one. And we come to yoga in order to balance the body. And we stay in yoga because, of course, we find a balanced mind, balanced emotions, and eventually our entire life is able to be in balance. And extend left leg towards the sky, either keeping your fingers interlaced around your back of the knee or taking your hands further up. And left leg bends. And release both feet to the mat. And one more time, rocking the knees to the left and to the right. And see if those simple stretches were able to free up any space. And hug both knees into your chest. Grab behind your knees and rock forward and back and forward and back. Coming all the way up to your tabletop position. So once you do come up, cross your ankles and come forward into your tabletop. We'll do a few more hip warm-ups. So start by extending your right leg out behind you. And then bend your right leg out to the right. And then take your knee to your nose. And we'll do that with the breath. So inhale, extend the right leg out behind you. Exhale out to the right. Exhale, knee to nose. And do 5 more of those. Inhale back. Exhale to the right. Exhale, spine rounds, knee to nose. Inhale. And ride your exhale. Inhale. Exhale. So a lot of yogis and even yoga teachers focus a lot on stretching our muscles, which can be nice, and it's really important to find that flexibility. But we also want mobility. We also want a stable joint. So these range of motion exercises can really help stabilizing the muscles that protect our joints. And then we'll do another one. So inhale the right leg out behind you. And then tuck your left toes under and reach your right leg high to the sky. Bend your right leg and roll the right hip open. Next, we're going to move our right knee in a giant figure 8 and move through a little plank variation. So to do that, take your right knee out to the right, and as you shift forward, take the right knee all the way to your left elbow. And then tap your right elbow, and then bring the leg back up. So do that a few times. I really love this movement. You can really play with the momentum of your leg and try to draw the biggest figure 8 that you can. So knee swings out to the right, taps the left, right elbows, and then back up. All right, and step 2, downward facing dog, and let your knees find the mat. And let's do the other side. Extend your left leg out behind you this time, and bend your left leg out to the left, and take your knee to your nose. And find your flow. Inhale, left leg back. Exhale to the left. Exhale, knee to nose. Keep it going. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. And try not to take any shortcuts, okay? So really when you take the knee out to the left, try to keep it as high as you can. Maybe you can line up your knee with your hips. And then our figure 8 motion. So extend the left leg out behind. Tuck your right toes under. Lift the left leg up, 3-legged dog. Bend the left leg, roll the left hip open. And then the left knee comes out to the left. As you shift forward, you tap your right elbow. Then the left elbow, then back up. So knee out to the left, Right elbow, left elbow, up and back to the right. So try to make this movement as fluid as possible. Really shift forward to plank pose, tap both elbows. It's also a good arm warm-up. It's also a nice core strengthener. All right, last inhale up, and left foot finds the mat, downward facing dog. From here, let your knees find the mat. The next pose is going to be what I call a baby pigeon pose. Most people just call this normal pigeon. But we'll explore what I want you to do in actual pigeon pose. So for baby pigeon, take your right knee and slide it up towards your right wrist. And then slide your left knee a little bit back. And then pivot your right foot so that now your right shin is at a 45-degree angle. And then come onto the top of your right foot, so really point your right toes. So your shin to ankle to foot is all in one line. And then only lower onto your elbows for now. So even if you can go deeper, even if you want to find that like surrendering pose of the whole body on the ground, for now we're going to focus on our elbows because this is the position that we need for our flying pigeon. And I call this baby pigeon because it's a fairly easy pose, doesn't require too much of our bodies. A lot of people really relax and surrender into it. But in my opinion, it's too easy. It's like a baby pigeon. And if we want flying pigeon, we're going to have to come to a much deeper version of this pose. And we'll explore that in a little bit. But now you probably just feel kind of like a subtle, slight stretch, most likely in one of your glutes. And let's do the other side. So walk your hands back, slide the left knee in, slide the right knee back. Let's do the other side. Slide the left knee forward, pivot the foot, left shin's now at a 45-degree angle. Right knee slides back, and we fold forward. So feel into this baby pigeon pose. It might be the version of pigeon that you are most used to. I'm not knocking this pose. It's a lovely pose to rest in. It's a lovely pose to have at the end of a yoga practice. But for flying pigeon, we need a much deeper stretch. All right, and walk your hands back, slide the right knee in, slide the left knee in, and then start to sit on your heels. And let's just do a few wrist stretches. And while we're doing these wrist stretches, I'll explain the next exercise that we're going to do. For the wrist stretches, turn your fingers around, bring your palms to the mat, and stretch the wrists like this. So we also need very strong arms in our flying pigeon, as we do for almost any arm balance. And those elbows are going to be bent in flying pigeon. So we're going to practice and try to hold Chaturanga Dandasana, four-limb staff pose, for 10 seconds. And we're going to try to do that 3 times. So if you're new to this, haven't quite developed the tricep strength yet, feel free to take a break anytime. Feel free to pause. Maybe today you hold it for 3 seconds. Next week you hold it for 4 seconds. Next week you hold it for 5. Just respect and listen to your body wherever your body is at. All right, turn your hands around. And we'll rest in a downward dog also to continue to strengthen the arms. But of course, if you want to rest in a child's pose or rest in a kneeling position and do some wrist stretches, you can also do those. And when we do come to Chaturanga Dandasana, be sure to keep your elbows over your wrists, not bend your elbows out or bend your elbows back. And then I don't usually cue it in my yoga classes, but for Chaturanga Dandasana today, we will shift forward 2 inches before bending our elbows, just to ensure we keep the right alignment. And it's that tipping forward that will also help in flying pigeon. All right, shake out the hands. All right, come to tabletop and downward facing dog. And from downward facing dog, shift forward to plank pose. Before we lower down, really ensure that your body's in one line. A lot of people may take the hips up too much, others even sink too low, but find that sweet spot right in the middle, and also engage your legs, because a lot of people think this is a core strength exercise, which it is, but it also is good for the legs. And then before we bend our elbows, shift your shoulders 2 inches past your wrists, and then bend your elbows as you look down, and then hold here for 10. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Straight into plank and downward facing dog. And take some breaths in this downward dog. Of course, if you need child's pose or if your wrists feel funny, stretch out the wrist or come to a child's pose. Nice job. We're going to do 2 more. Hope you're ready. All right, next one. Shift forward to plank pose. Shift shoulders past your wrist 2 inches, and then lower down for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Plank pose, hips to the sky, downward facing dog. Nice job, yogis. We got 1 more. Find the rest here. And allow the breath to relax. And in this last and final one, try to stay relaxed in all the areas of the body that don't need to be engaged. So in every yoga pose, we want to find that balance of what's known as sthira and sukha, or effort and ease, or steadiness and comfortability. So we don't need to tighten the face or squeeze anything that we don't need to. From here, shift forward to plank. Shoulders shift past your wrists. Lower halfway down. You got this for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and plank, downward facing dog. Nice job. Walk forward to the top of your mat. Bend the knees, tuck your tailbone, and roll up 1 vertebra at a time. When you get to the top, take the hands to your heart. Nice job. All right, let's warm up the hips, work on our balance a little bit as well. So from this standing position, take your arms up high to the sky, then shift your weight over your right foot, and then take your left knee up so it's in line with your left hip. And then we're going to strengthen that right leg. See if your left toes can find the mat simply by bending your right leg. And left toes fine, and straighten. Do a few more of those. Exhale down, inhale up. Exhale down, inhale up. Exhale down, inhale up. Exhale down, inhale up. Last one, figure 4. Left ankle over the right knee this time. Hands come to your heart. And come back up. Left knee comes up. And hands to your heart. All right, other side. Right knee comes up. Keep the right knee in line with your right hip. Arms come up. Left knee bends. Touch. Inhale up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then right ankle, left knee, hands to heart, figure 4. Hopefully, with these warm-ups, you're able to come to a deeper stretch than you did a long time ago when we were on our backs. And last inhale, right leg comes up, arms come up, and 2 feet to the mat, hands to your heart. All right, now's our time for our regular pigeon pose. Here's how we'll get into it. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, forward fold. From here, take the right leg to the back of your mat. Let your right knee drop. And to come into pigeon, heel toe your left foot directly over to the right. And let your knee fall to the left. All right. So this is the deep pigeon pose that we need for flying pigeon. We need our foot to be flexed, and we want our shin to be parallel to the top of our mats. And then and only then can you lower down. So if you've never done this before, it's like, wow, so much in the hips. You might even be way up here. Okay, this is why we need to do this pose more often in our yoga class. Now, even if you can go lower, only come on to your elbows, because I want you to find where your elbows are going to be in flying pigeon. So if you're on your elbows, you notice that your right elbow is right next to your left ankle, and your left elbow is next to your left knee. So this is the position that we need for our flying pigeon. And notice with your left foot flexed, that's the foot that's going to be wrapped around your upper arm. All right, so this is one of my favorite poses. Feel free, pause the video, stay in here 1 minute, 2 minutes, 5 minutes. It feels so good. The deeper we get, the more layers of tension and tightness that we can peel off. Okay, from here, drop onto your left hip and swing your right leg around. And option 1, you can just do a Janu Shirshasana with your left foot on the inside of your right thigh. But if you want to continue with this figure 4 action that we've been exploring today, your left ankle can be on your right thigh. And then you can fold over your right leg. You might remember this position from earlier in class when we were on our backs. All right, from here, interlace fingers around your left foot. As you inhale, extend the left leg up in front of you. And exhale, let the left foot find your mat. From here, cross your ankles, come forward into downward facing dog. And looking forward, walk, step, or jump to the top of your mat. Inhale to a flat back. Exhale, fold. Inhale the arms out and up towards the sky. Exhale, hands to your heart. All right, we got to do the other side. Inhale, arms out and up. Exhale, forward fold. And left foot comes to the back of your mat this time. Left knee drops. And then we heel toe, our right foot all the way to the left, and our knee drops to the right. So if this is really uncomfortable, you might even prop up your right hip. You could put a block or a bolster underneath of your right hip. And then again, even if you can go lower, only lower onto your elbows for now. So your left elbow will be right where your right ankle is, and your right elbow will be at your right knee / kind of like shin, top of the shin area. And then just feel into this wonderful pose. And again, feel free to stay here longer. But if you want to continue, drop onto your right hip, swing the left leg forward. All right, option 1, right foot inside of left thigh. Option 2, right ankle on your left thigh and folding over your left leg. From here, interlace both fingers around your right foot, straighten your right leg, and let your right foot find the mat. From here, cross your ankles, come forward into downward facing dog, and walk, step, jump, float, skip, whatever you want to get to the top of your mat. Bend the knees, tuck your tailbone, slowly roll up to standing, taking your hands to your heart. All right, so before we go into a full flying pigeon pose, let's just see where our flexibility is at in our hip by seeing if we can get our elbows to our shins like we just explored in our actual pigeon pose. So for now, let's just stay in the balance. Don't think about starting on the leg balance. Don't think about the arm balance just yet. Just inhale the arms up and take your left knee up. And then exhale, figure 4, and take your hands to your heart. And then start to tip forward, 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 forward until your forearms are aligned with your shin. And then see if, like we did in pigeon, your right elbow can come to your left ankle and your left elbow can find your shin. If your flexibility isn't there today, that's totally okay. Just keep stretching the way we've done today in class, and you'll get it in no time at all. And reverse that motion, so come all the way up, left knee comes up, and 2 feet to the mat, hands to your heart. Other side, arms come up, right knee comes up, figure 4, hands to your heart, and tipping forward, forward, forward. You might find a good place to stop, or you might be able to bring your elbows all the way to your shins. And see if you can slowly come all the way up. Arms come up, right knee comes up, and 2 feet to the mat, hands to your heart. Okay, we got the arm strength, we got the balance, we got the open hips. Now we're ready for a full flying pigeon. So we get into it just like we've explored, but then our hands come to the mat, we bend forward in the elbows. Our weight tips forward. And then you can keep your back leg exactly where it is, or extend it behind you. So I'll show it, talk about it. Feel free to just look at it if you've never done it before. But if you have, you can follow along with me. Take your arms up, left knee comes up. Figure 4, hands to your heart. Tip forward, elbows in line with your shins. Hands to the mat. Bring elbows over your wrists and bend the elbows. Option 1, stay here. Option 2, extend the right leg out behind you. 2 come out, reverse. Right knee comes in. Right foot finds the mat. Hands to your heart. Come to standing. 2 feet to the mat. Okay, other side. Arms up. Right knee comes up. Figure 4. Hands to your heart. Tip forward. Elbows to your shins. Hands to your mat. Bend elbows. Float. Option to keep your left leg there or extend out. Reverse. Left knee comes in. Left foot finds the mat. Hands to your heart. And 2 feet to the mat. Come to standing. And let's all have a seat. Cross your ankles. And come into this cross-legged position. And you might find after all those deep stretches in the hips, this pose is much easier. You might even have a lotus posture after all of that. And then take a few deep breaths, grounding your energy down after those balanced poses. And thank you so much for sharing your practice with me today. Namaste. So, there you have it, 30 minutes to flying pigeon pose. Hopefully you figured out what you need in your body in order to get the pose. Feel free to continue to do this practice once a week. Eventually, the pose will come. Keep practicing while remaining non-attached to the outcome. Just come to your mat, come to your mat, come to your mat. Eventually, all will follow. If there's other poses that you want to learn about, let me know in the comments below, and you can learn more about me at zachbeach.com. See you again soon.